Josh Brooks almost at an angle of 45 degrees.
Yeah. That's a lot steeper downhill than you think from up there, you know. That is a real advantage if you can point it down. It just upsets everybody else in the front row, that's all.
And the people he's trying to upset are his teammate, number 46, Tommy Bridewell, and the newly crowned champion, Shaky Byrne. Here we go then. 20 laps to go to top off the 2014 season. And a grand start by Josh Brooks. He just burned his way off the line, but Shaky Byrne does the same on the Kawasaki and managed to dip underneath the Australian and grab the early advantage as they go up the hill towards Druids.
Brilliant start from Shane Byrne there.
Wow, he produced a flyer, so Shaky Byrne from third place on the grid. As James Ellison is quick to cut his way through to fourth place. But it's the two Milwaukee Yamahas lying behind the Rapid Solicitors Kawasaki as we go along the bottom straight. Stuart Easton fifth. Linfoot has made a blinding start to grab sixth, ahead of Hopkins, Kirkham and Mainwaring Smart, who are all ahead of him on the grid. Hickman, Wilson, Walker's also made the classic stalker start to catapult himself through from row 6. And there's 29 riders on the grid then, and of them leading the way is Shaky Byrne, just from the Milwaukee Yamahas.
Yeah, just remember how quick Brooks was in the last race, the second race of the weekend. The first race afternoon, he was on pole for good reason. He came through, it didn't make a bad start. It just took a long time to get going. If he can just get into his stride early, I think he's the man who could go with Shane Byrne. Still damp under the trees. Look, I know it's offline, but I cannot believe how long it's taken to dry around here. Unreal.
And of course, I presume that was part of the reason that Josh actually found it quite difficult to get through the pack in that first race.
Yeah, because it was a lot narrower, the racing line then. You know, the actual dry piece of tarmac, and to pass people, you've obviously got to go offline, and that means going onto the damp parts.
So Shaky Byrne just has the edge by half a bike length over Josh Brooks as they keel their way round Druids Bend. Tommy Bridewell sat right in behind him in third place. Remember, a reminder, at the moment, Brooks 2 points ahead of Bridewell, who in turn is 4 points ahead of Dan Linfoot in the three-way battle for bronze.
Yeah, Josh Brooks wearing that eyeball helmet. He says it's because he's got a lot of Japanese rider friends, and the eyeball thing comes. We used to see it on Nakano's helmet. That's how it became famous years ago. But actually, a lot of Japanese riders that came through a specific rider school and racing school in their early years, they won the right to wear the eyeballs on the helmet. That's where it all comes from.
Dropping down almost out of our sight there, that steep drop through Dingle Dell, and it is a steep one. It's up to 140 miles an hour in fourth gear, and then the surge through to Stirling, just below 70, second gear swoop, and then it's blistering pace here as they go under the bridge. 150 miles an hour in fourth gear. That's Jenny Tinmouth, who's had such a good weekend. Went through to qualifying too, finished inside the top 20 in the earlier race today. Yeah, because she's run off track and not crashed, she's still got the bike upright. She is allowed to continue. If you actually slide off your bike goes on its side, you can't. Bridewell, fastest lap on that lap, 126.56. He's running third ahead of Ellison, Easton, Linfoot, Mainwaring Smart, Kirkham, Hopkins 9th, Walker 10th. Dropping down the hill. This is what they used to call Bottom Bend, with every good reason, but it's now Graham Hill Bend after the fabled 1962 World F1 champion. In fact, it always was Graham Hill Bend in my time, but we always called it Bottom Bend, always. Just like we didn't say Clark Curve, we always called that last corner, wherever you were in that corner, that was always Clearways. Yeah, I think they kind of adjusted things a little bit to take it, because they've fitted as many famous names as they can in around this track, haven't they? Even where we are now is the Minter Straight, after the very many times king of brands in the 1960s, Derek Minter. They are now actively looking for one they can call the Bernicle Corner. No, they're not. No, I would think that Wacky Whittam would be somewhere ahead on those stakes. The Bernicle Kink, that'd work. I'll stop. Yes, I'd quite appreciate it, actually. Yeah, Bernicle Bends would suit, but there's nothing left. as we go under the bridge then and round into the Clark curve. Josh Brooks once again looking for a slightly different line to get the gas on early on the Milwaukee Yamaha.
Yeah, and I think he has to do. It does lack a little bit of straight line speed compared to the Kawasaki. That cross-plane crank Yamaha runs a balancer shaft. It has to do because the engine isn't dynamically balanced with the firing order, and that at maximum RPM takes about 6 or 7 brake horsepower, so it is slightly slower.
Fastest man on that lap was a 1:26.681 from James Ellison, just by a whisker from Stuart Easton, who's right behind him. So the front five breaking away a bit from Howie Mainwaring Smart and Dan Linfoot. The climax to the 2014 MCE British Insurance Championship on the 4th lap of 20 here in perfect weather at Brands Hatch. And it's the new champion, Shaky Byrne, 4 times a champion on bike number 67, ahead of the red and black Milwaukee monster-backed Yamahas. James Ellison's in there in 4th place, Stuart Easton in 5th. And that quintet have broken away, really, from the Quattro Kawasaki's of Dan Linfoot and Howie Mainwaring Smart.
Why we're looking at Marshalls. Oh, and that is Josh Brooks' perfect move into Sterling's pass. He's been setting that up, you know, mid-corner speed, especially down the back end of the circuit. It's been good, but straight back comes Shane Byrne.
And you know that at the moment there's kind of a... Wow, these two are going to run one another close, and that meant Brooks had to back off. That's cost him 2nd place, in fact 3rd place as well as Ellison goes through. Yeah,
there's only room for one bike going through that line. You've got to clip the inside there to get the speed and get the line. Oh, that's Bridewell nearly in the back.
Clips the back end of Byrne. He goes straight on, and that pushes him back to 4th place in turn.
This is close stuff, you know, and Shane Byrne looked round. He felt that, and he looked round to see what it was, and that was almost a kind of calm down lads kind of look from Shane Byrne to me. That he knows things are going on behind him. He's felt 2 people clobber the back of him in 2 corners. Yeah, this is up into Druids, and look, mistake from Bridewell really. That was, and did lucky to sort of avoid the back of Byrne.
James, I'm just entertaining you, thinking you're about a dozen years older than Shaky Byrne, and you remind me that he was a properly wild lad when he first burst onto the scene.
Yeah, absolutely was. He was known for it, actually. He did a lot of riding for a magazine that at the time specialised in really daft stuff and silly pictures and big wheelies and stoppers and crashes and all that kind of thing. And he was the man for the job, I'll tell you.
So right now we're on the 5th lap of 20, and Shaky, the more settled, mature Shaky Byrne, leads the way from Ellison and the Yamahas. As they drop into, they've completed 1/4 race distance as they drop down Paddock Hill in front of a rapt audience. Shaky Byrne leads the way. There are the championship positions right now, with Bridewell a point ahead of Brooks, who in turn is 9 points ahead of Linfoot. Linfoot is looking possibly out of this. It's between the 2 teammates. Well, they're not going to be teammates next year. One of them wants to finish with the bronze medal in 2014.
I don't think at this point they're bothered about being mates next year, or even tonight at this point.
It's looking that way, isn't it? So really, James, it's all down to who finishes in front of who.
Yeah.
Brooks has to finish in front of number 46, Bridewell, if he wants that 3rd place.
He does.
And hovering behind them, of course, finding his mojo again, is little Stuart Easton. We've hardly talked about the lad from Hoyk, but he's right in there, and you know, running an equally smooth pace with the leaders. Howie Mainwaring Smart's back in front of his teammate Dan Linfoot in 6th. He's, you know, looking to complete a spectacularly successful weekend.
Yeah, it's Mainwaring Smart that's actually pulled away from Dan Linfoot now, and he looks like he's... I don't think that Howie Mainwaring Smart, good weekend though, he's hard, has got the pace to go with these leading 5.
And Linfoot's got Kirkham and Hopkins for company, so Hopkins having a livelier ride. He's running in 9th place, but at least putting a respectable show on now, the Californian. As we look at the leaders, and Ellison once again close and taking the inside line into Paddock Hill. And this is the battle between Chris Walker and Peter Hickman. They're wrestling with 10th place, and Hickman goes through. So the tall Derbyshireman on the RAF Reserves Honda gets the better of the GB Motors Kawasaki. Meanwhile, at the bottom of the hill, in the other direction, Shaky still fending off all comers in celebration of his title.
Speaking of RAF reserves, you know, I'm not sure I should volunteer for that. I think I'd make a go. I'm a pilot. I don't know if you've got to bring your own plane or not.
Well, we're suggested to it, James. Have you got roundels on it?
Yeah, I can do that. I've got some paint.
All right, we're on the 7th lap of 20 then. Shaky still has the advantage over Ellison, and Bridewell still has that crucial advantage over Josh Brooks. And right behind them, hovering behind them, is Stuart Easton. And fastest lap of his particular personal race for Howie Mainwaring Smart, 126.81.
He's got Mainwaring Smart, you know, has definitely got the pace to go with these boys if he can bridge the gap. He's definitely doing exactly the same pace. What a good weekend Mainwaring Smart's having. Unreal.
James Ellison, I wonder if he just had a bit of a moment then, because he certainly got gapped by Shaky Byrne at that point. He had an unsteady moment as he came out of clearways.
He said after race 2 of the weekend, earlier this afternoon, he had a monster slide off camera, right at the point, Dingle Dell, where he had the monster crash and broke his leg. He said he came flooding back. He didn't really enjoy that. He wouldn't.
A superb queue of motorcycles thrumming round on the overrun onto Druids, and then diving down the hill, swinging left at Graham Hill Bend, and once again you'll see number 77, Ellison, almost trying to egg Shaky Byrne into a mistake, getting up the inside of it. Oh, and Shaky has a huge moment coming out of Surtees. That really shakes the head and the rear end of that Kawasaki and allows Ellison through.
Yeah, meanwhile, you know, man 5th there in the back of the shot, Mainwaring Smart. Old Howie's chipping away. He was the fastest lap. He had the fast, not the fast lap of the race, but definitely faster than all these in front of him last lap, and his quickest lap of the race.
And now the Milwaukee Yamahas ganging up on Josh Brooks as they've got a direct line through to him.
Look at this.
Jeez. I'll tell you what, this is a great track. There are a variety of lines available here, are there not?
Yeah, there is. This is the moment of Shane Byrne coming up onto the out of Surtees, and that is a big moment. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Petra.
Get the band-aid ready.
8th lap of 20, onto the 9th lap. 8 laps out of 20 complete. But Shaky just seems to, he has the edge over these Yamahas. These Yamahas have to sort out 3rd place in the championship between themselves, I get the impression.
I tell you, these lads are going to have trouble in the form of Howie Mainwaring Smart soon. He's right on their back wheel and lapping consistently a couple of times quicker every single lap.
Simply remarkable.
It is.
This is what,
yeah, I agree.
Imagine what Howie will do. Well, imagine how fast Howie Mainwaring Smart will go when he stops bringing up his shoulder with every conversation you have with him. When he's properly happy.
I'll tell you what, that shoulder injury is getting more spectacular with every interview, isn't it? Smashed to pieces.
Yes, bolted back together.
I lost my arm and
amputated. Oh, and here's Shaky diving through on the inside, uphill into Hawthorns, and retaking James Ellison. So the Rapid Solicitors Kawasaki once again leads the way.
Still, good meeting from Ellison. He's been really competitive running at the front throughout this weekend. Practice, qualifying.
Especially what happened to him after what happened to him last time, James. That's doubly impressive.
Yeah.
So the 32-year-old Cumbrian then, who himself, of course, has had experience of World Supersport, British Superbike, MotoGP, just as the man just in front of him has very much been in the British paddock, World Superbikes and MotoGP. And the two of them then, most experienced men in the... Having said that, Josh Brooks is now 31, and he's been World Superbike Australian, and then World Superbike, World Supersport and British Superbike on the way. He's running in 4th place. Stuart Easton is 5th. Mainwaring Smart on that lap, not
lost
quite as quick.
No, it wasn't. I think the leading 5 just had a quite a good lap. They dipped into the 1 minute 26s, and Mainwaring Smart was on a 27.1.
Funny how the opportunity to put yourself in the shop window and the sun shining has made John Hopkins a lot quicker, and he's riding with Linfoot and Kirkham in a battle for 7th place.
Nah, you just get it's just too little too late for me, for John Hopkins this season. Art doesn't seem to have been in it for me.
As they surge up through Hawthorns, and that ongoing battle. The one thing that Tommy Bridewell, I would think, is slightly aware of, James, is Josh Brooks does seem to get stronger as races go on.
He does, yeah.
When conditions are tidy like this.
Also, Shane Byrne doesn't tend to tire either. He tends to be able to hold his pace to the end. Here comes Ellison. Oh, and he couldn't stop that, and that's cost him a little bit of time.
Well, it was a good lunge. It had everything going for it except the end result. The Kawasaki's very, very evenly matched. Potential, of course, for both those teams at the front to be moving on to different manufacturers in 2015. We just don't know what's happening at the moment. Riders and manufacturers switching teams as they drop down through Fowler. There's an absolute cloud of gravel and dust there. And is it Ellison? Is it Mainwaring?
I've got a feeling.
That's at Paddock Hill Bend, and I think it might be Howie Mainwaring Smart who's gone down. He was pushing on, he was edging in on the leaders.
Yeah, it was definitely him walking off.
So Howie, well, he's proved just, another big moment for the second place man. Was that James Ellison? It was. So Howie proving that he had the pace, but finally just overstepping the mark, but he's okay.
Yeah, no shame in that. He's had a cracking weekend, does Howie. No question of that. Impressed me.
Stuart Easton must be sitting on the back of this thinking, right, what's my next move then? Half distance, 11th lap of 20, and the little Scots, now here we go. This might be, is this?
Yeah, watch it. That is, yeah.
Howie. Oh my goodness me, he's given Pete Extons a bit of a bill right at the end of the year. Like you said, James, they might have already sold that on eBay, but it's a bit of a mess now.
Completely okay. Bike not so.
So Howie trudges off. Great weekend he's had. Not quite the ending he might have wanted. Look at this.
That was close.
Trying to get that was a great move round the outside of James Ellison there by Tommy Bridewell. He goes into second place.
That was weird because that shouldn't have happened. I think Ellison might have got a little slide or just didn't get onto the start and finish straight as good as he should have done. Bridewell shouldn't have been able to do that.
So as they drop downhill into the left-hander, Tommy Bridewell is looking to secure the bronze medal in the overall championship standings. He's doing enough at the moment. He's leading his teammate. He's now got James Ellison between them as cover. On the 12th lap of 20 here at Brands Hatch. And with all this carving one another up, of course, it just gives Shaky a bit of a breather, James. He could just clinch himself a 61st race win here.
Yeah, the safety car's out, we're told. That will possibly be Howie Mainwaring debris or oil or something from him sliding off.
And the yellow flag is out. Hang on, these lads are suddenly sitting.
No,
right.
That flag signifies the safety cars out, so they will want everybody around them, all the sort of oppos, to know that they're going to be slowing up and catching the car up. They've got to stay in line of stern and in order, obviously. Yeah.
So this, of course, will allow the field to kind of cramp up a bit, James, because if they're behind these guys, it had got quite spread out. Oh, look at the dip
you can see the dip. That was not from a bike. That's from
James, the wind had really kicked up in mid-afternoon. I think it's actually blowing some hoarding or bits of hoarding around the place.
That has the look of some braking marker kind of foam. It's that Foamex board that's really light. It has to be lightweight because if somebody slid off and hit the thing as it stood up before the corner, he's got to smash out the way and not damage the right hand. Yeah, that's a bit of hoarding that's pulled off the side of the track.
So that's how strong the wind has got here at Brands Hatch, but at least it means we've got wonderful autumn sunshine. So the 13th lap of 20, everybody's steadying up, although at the moment they're well spread out behind the pace car. Shaky's keeping things moving. Josh Brooks needs to move in, really, as this is what happened to Howie Mainwaring Smart after his wonderful third weekend.
Yeah, he's in front of this group. That is Lind, but look at the front of the shot. We didn't see how it happened. It looks to me like he's lost the front. He's lost the front right at the top of the hill. Camber's going away. He's not hurt. You don't want high side at that point. That generally hurts a lot more.
Tell you what, the catch fence did a lot of good then, didn't it?
Yeah, Marshall sweeping the debris off the start and finish straight. In actual fact, a big piece of kind of Foamex board on the start and finish looked about sort of 18 inches by a couple of foot. Not what you want. You ride over that and you are down the road completely. I've heard riders blaming tear-offs and all sorts of stuff for sliding off, and that would definitely fetch you down the road. So safety car out is a good move.
I had the pleasure earlier on of meeting a guest of Shaky Byrne's Paul Bird Motorsport team. He was a 78-year-old John Punnett, and he used to be a works rider for Norman, which was an English company that produced motorcycles at Ashford in Kent.
Yeah,
with
no,
252T Villiers engines,
yes,
twin-cylinder Villiers engines in them.
Not only that, he built his own bike, Triumph engine, Triumph Twin, raced it here in the 50s when it was just the Indy circuit before the long bit was added in the late 50s. Also, top centre motocrosser or scrambler as was then on a Montesa that he bought in kit form apparently.
Yes.
And then he went to do Scottish 60 and other trials on a Greaves Scottish. So yeah, all-rounder was John.
Proper all-rounder, John. It was lovely to have a chat with you, mate, and I hope you're enjoying the fact that at the moment the team that you're a guest of could has not only crowned a new champion, but potentially could do it with 2 race wins. Well, look at this lot lining up now, developing into a kind of minor traffic jam here at Brands Hatch. We're on the 14th of 20 laps. We could have a 5-lap sprint to go. The lights are out on the safety car, so that means it'll come in on this lap, and that means that we'll have 6 laps to go for the man in 4th place, Josh Brooks, to do something about the man in 2nd place, Tommy Bridewell, for that bronze medal in the championship.
Safety car comes in, it'll pull in to its right now, and it is the onus now is on Shane Byrne as pace car comes in. And it's up to Shane Byrne when he goes, and he's not gone yet. He's not gone. Now he does. No passing before the start and finish line though.
Well, he left that late, didn't he?
So
everybody bunched up together, and then as they go, it's almost like the first lap as they drop down Paddock Hill. So Shaky has the advantage. Tommy doing everything he can now to needle the man at the front. Josh Brooks determinedly gets underneath James Ellison and onto the back wheel of his teammate. This is where the battle... Oh, no, but James Ellison quickly cuts himself back and nabs back the place as they drop downhill into Graham Hill Bend. So Byrne, Bridewell, Ellison, Brooks, Easton, Linfoot, Kirkham, Hopkins, Hickman. That is your top 9, with Chris Walker in 10th place. And as they howl downhill, 175 miles an hour, 5th gear for Shaky Byrne there before he backs it off to the 70 mile an hour right-hander at Hawthorns. And then along the Derek Minter straight, diving through the 3rd gear, 70 mile an hour, blind downhill right-hander at Westfield. And then that plunge down Dingle Dell.
Yeah, it just feels so much quicker than 70 mile an hour, that Westfield, honestly. You don't half feel to be going fast on that part of the track. Westfield, Dingle Dell, just because the barrier's a little bit close, there's trees. It's a beautiful piece of track. There's lots going on, like James Hayden said earlier. It's blind as you come into Sheen Curve. It's dropped away. It's coming back to meet. It's a lot going on.
At that moment, Stuart Easton has chopped through in front of Josh Brooks and really done Brooks no favours. Now Brooks has been squeezed back to 5th place, getting further away from the man he needs to pass, his teammate Bridewell. Yeah,
Bridewell just let the brakes off there and rolled it into Paddock Hill, really a lot quicker than Shane Byrne. That's given him a chance up into Druids. No, not this time.
That's a wonderful, that kind of drumming overrun for all the bikes as it's as good a sound as they make when they're accelerating. Shaky Byrne then knows that Tommy Bridewell's doing everything he can to get on terms. Bridewell at the moment has an advantage of 3 points over his teammate Brooks and lies in 3rd place in the championship, which obviously would be quite a coup for the young man from Devisors.
When you watch him out of Surtees, then on to the long path, there's a little right kink just after the left-hander uphill of Surtees, and it's a real effort with these things to have the throttle open, and the bike wants to keep turning left, but you want to turn it right for the kink without shutting the throttle and obviously losing time, and that's why you see the riders hanging off to the right. They take a lot of turning, these things, when the throttle's open.
Bridewell's lost that 2nd place the moment that we get the caption up to tell us what's happening. Now Bridewell is squeezed back, but of course Stuart Easton, the canny Scot, sits between the 2 Milwaukee Yamahas at the moment. Dan Linfoot there just behind them, running 6th ahead of Kirkham, Hopkins and Hickman.
There's Limput. There is the Halsell Kawasaki of John Kirkham, the red bike.
James Ellison must feel like he's got a second chance with the safety car coming out. Suddenly, he's able to really launch an assault. Now, 4 laps left. This, the final 4 laps of the season here at Brands Hatch in the MCE Insurance British Superbike Championship. Wow, formation flying here.
Yeah,
that's
Brooks really wide coming out of Druids. That's cost him a little bit of time, got onto the curbs.
When you... So we know that James Ellison, who's running behind Stuart Easton in the battle for the Riders' Cup, he's actually 15 points behind him. So he would want to make sure he got as many points as he could, just in case he could do enough to steal that place. But of course, Easton, that's why he's fired himself. He wants that 7th place. So his team gets the Riders' Cup and also gets the overall championship.
I'll be perfectly honest, I won't be bothered if there's money at stake. 7th of the championship, not brilliant unless you get some cash.
A Paul Bird Motorsport bonus, perhaps.
There could be a little birdie bonus in it, I think.
The 17th lap of 20. So after this lap, we've got 3 to go. As still, well, it's now developing into 2 at the front and 3 squabbling just behind them. And this is all for vital points. Or in the case of this, of course, it's for the pride of victory between Shaky Byrne and James Ellison. James Ellison has tasted plenty of podiums, but hasn't yet had a race win. He's had a 2nd place at Snetterton, a 2nd place earlier today here at Brands Hatch, but not yet a race win. And, well, this is as close as he's been yet. Tommy Bridewell's looking strong here, and he's making it really difficult for both Easton and Brooks.
Fastest man on track at the minute is Limput on the back of this pack in 6th. He seems to have woken up.
The 18th lap of 20, Dan Limput beginning to come to as we watch Stuart Easton. This time he almost pulled that off, on the last lap.
That's a big crash. That's coming out of Druids. That must be...
And that's one of the red flag comes out because that's the Stell Suzuki that's gone down of Aaron Zanotti. The red flag comes out, and that will mean Tommy Bridewell has clinched that 3rd place in the championship overall. Another race victory for Shaky Byrne, 2nd place for James Ellison. Tommy Bridewell, that 3rd in the race, will clinch the bronze medal, and Stuart Easton will become the Riders' Cup champion. So everyone takes a deep breath there. Plenty of hugs, because that was, well, that's robbed us of a splendid climax, but it hasn't robbed this man, Shaky Byrne, of his 61st race win. He just goes on breaking the records or setting new targets.
The down bike, one of them was definitely Aaron Zanotti's Suzuki. Yeah. There's only one Suzuki in the... Here we go. Oh, that's fluid on the back tyre for sure. You saw the smoke. As soon as he leaned it over, the thing's gone down. That's an oil leak, fluid leak, a hose clip gone, and there's something on his back tyre. That's why the red flag had to come out, because there's something on the track.
So for Shaky Byrne then, number 67, he clinches, doesn't only clinch, he absolutely cements his British Superbike title of 2014 with another win. So Shaky Byrne, 61 race wins. Well, would you believe it? The man from... he actually lives in a village just outside Sittingbourne, but he pleaded with me not to mention the name of the village because it's very small and people might start coming and knocking on his door, which is where he and Petra live with the 2 kids.
You mean that these neighbours might start to understand where all the noise is coming from? And complain to the council.
This is a man who loves it. He keeps fit by cycling many. Remember that he regards home really as Spain, because that's where that's where they have another home, and that's where they tend to regard as home, and where he does a lot of his cycling. Goes out, he has 1, 2 and 3 hour routes he goes out on, and he's a very keen cyclist.
He's really good, really good, really fit lad on his bike. He's Shane.
He's also got this brand new road-going ZX10 that he got himself an Arrow exhaust on, but then he found all sorts of other things being done to it by Stuart Bland.
The thing is, though, Shakey's also into kind of cruisers. He's got Harleys and all sorts of stuff he's got. He likes motorbikes in general and all types of, all genres of bike. Good ride from Ellison, that, I've got to say.
Matt Llewellyn there on the right is crew chief, a former top-line racer, and James Ellison, yeah, he's certainly set himself up well for an assault next year with the same team. As we watch Shaky Byrne drop down into and waving to the people who've been enjoying that action from a very entertaining spot on the grass banks on the inside of Dingle Dell and also on the inside of Stirling's Bend. So yeah, it's just up the coast from Barcelona, his place in Spain. This is Tommy Bridewell with Sean Muir. Tommy Bridewell has clinched third place in the championship ahead of Josh Brooks. A terrific feat by Tommy Bridewell. He rode with terrific spirit in that race, and there never seemed any possibility of Josh getting the better of him. Yeah, Shaky's savouring the moment. He certainly is savouring the moment. The car ushering him along. Keep moving, son, keep moving. Need a bit of horn action from the car. It was actually when he was on holiday in Spain as a 10-year-old that he got out of the pool shivering, that another little lad called him Shaking Shane, and that's where the Shaky nickname came from. So he's had to stick with it for 26 years. So, acknowledging the crowd here, no better place to win it, really. He knows he's always going to be on home territory when he comes back to Brands Hatch, the track at which he first ever raced in 1996 as 18, 19 years old. I can't remember which it was, but anyway, that's when he first started racing here at Brands Hatch, and this is where he's enjoyed his greatest successes: World Superbike wildcard victories, British Superbike Championship successes. He did actually in 1997 win 50 or 60 club races, but look what he's achieved now. 4 British Superbike Championships. He's in there somewhere. Shaky Byrne acknowledging the applause of the crowd here at Brands Hatch on his doorstep.
Hugs all round then for Shaky Byrne, his wife, family, and of course the Paul Bird Motorsport team. Let's dive in for a word. Shaky, congratulations, you are the 2014 MC British Superbike champion. You knew that, of course, you could relax for that last race, but how does it feel now?
You know what, I was desperate to win that race at all costs. You know, it only seemed fitting that you know, the circumstances we had to win it in. I thought nothing else than a double win today would be just, really. So I tried really, really hard, and I got it.
And it was me, weren't you? Not John.
Was it? Yeah. My head fell off.
Yeah, there was a bit of contact between Tommy and Shane there during the race, but all smiles now. And Shaky, 3 times champion before. How does this one rate compared to the other 3?
This one rewrites history. You know, this one's special. The first one, you know, you're absolutely over the moon. That was with Paul as well, so absolutely fantastic. The second one proves the first one wasn't a fluke. The third one equaled everybody else, and the fourth one, that's the special one. That makes it something different.
I'll let you enjoy it with everybody else. No, well done, Shane.
Very much. Thank you.
Race 3 result here at Brands Hatch, and the final race of the series. Shaky Byrne justifies his title as British champion in style with a race victory over James Ellison. Tommy Bridewell's brilliant third means that he finishes third in the championship. Stuart Easton finishes 4th. He is the Riders' Cup champion. Josh Brooks finishes 5th, 4th overall in the series. Dan Linfoot, 5th overall in the series, finishes 6th for Quattro Plant ahead of John Kirkham, John Hopkins, Peter Hickman and Chris Walker. Other point scoring positions, Jakob Smerts coming back from that bad wrist injury, a wonderful 11th for him. Philip Backlund, a strong ride on the FFX Yamaha for the Swede ahead of Patrick Mulf, James Westmoreland, and a final point for Josh Waters at Taiko Suzuki ahead of Brian Starring, Ben Wilson, Jed Metcher, John Ingram and the luckless Zanotti. The final championship standings of 2014, Shaky Byrne takes victory in the series from Yuichi Kiyanari, who will be back even stronger next year, we're sure. Tommy Bridewell, by 3 points, has third place ahead of Josh Brooks at Milwaukee Yamaha. Dan Linfoot, fifth for Quattro Plant ahead of Chris Walker. Stuart Easton has that seventh place in the Riders' Cup Championship by 8 points from James Ellison, with Josh Walker's ninth overall, John Hopkins 10. 11th place for Peter Hickman, a good ride, a good season for him ahead of John Kirkham and James Westmoreland. Howie Mainwaring Smart finishes joint 14th with Jakob Smertz ahead of Cooper, Moff, Rutter, DaCosta and Wilson.
Tommy Bridewell, brilliant race, fantastic to watch. How was it for you?
Yeah, no, it was a phenomenal race.
And nipped third in the championship as well.
CBS Power Tools, Royal London Watches, thank you. No, it was a hard race, you know, massively. You know, I knew what I had to do, and it was basically just go out and try and win the race, you know, and it's behind James and Shaky, and it was hard work, you know, really hard work, but I just literally hung in with every physical ounce I could physically ride a bike. I give everything today, you know.
You're making big effort out the back in mid-corner speed. You're rolling through Westfield and all that.
Just having to trust the front, trust the bike, and just literally turning in off the brakes, letting the bike do what it wants to do. But, you know, it's no secret we are losing a bit of speed down the straights, you know, but for what we lose, we make up in other areas, you know. But Milwaukee Yamaha have stuck behind me for the past sort of year and gave me the whole package I needed in, you know, at the final round to pip Josh for third in the championship. You know, I physically couldn't ask to be a better person, you know, in the degree of, yeah, you know, it's no love lost there for sure.
You did what you needed to do. Have a good night tonight.
Cheers, thanks guys.
Matt.
Fair play to Tommy, well done to him, and we've got two crucial members of the backroom staff for Shaky that have been instrumental in this championship. First of all, his crew chief here, John Moffat, and of course team owner Paul Bird. John, to you first, congratulations. You were pre-season favourites, I guess, going into this championship, but you've had to work every step of the way here, haven't you?
Yeah, no, 100% we have, and what a fantastic ending to a great season, to be honest, Matt. It's been really good, and we got into double figures in wins. I think 23 podiums, 26 races, so absolutely fantastic, yeah.
And what about that ride there in race 3 as well? I mean, he went out and you could tell from the first turn he wanted to win.
Yeah, no, absolutely fantastic. Great battle with 6 riders in the mix, and yeah, he was having it.
Thanks, John. You go and enjoy the celebrations. And Paul, I suppose to you, we spoke to you about Shaky earlier, but it is a team effort, isn't it? And great credit must go as well to John and the rest of the crew.
Yeah, they're a fantastic team of guys. You know, we're off packing up tonight, no celebrations. We're testing tomorrow at Snetterton, so it's all go for us. The next race is Macau, so we're getting ready for that now. So they do work immensely hard, and they're a great bunch of guys. As you can see, they've been with me for a lot of years, some of these guys. So great rider, great bunch of guys, a great team. Can't wait to get going again next year.
I think for now you better go and buy them all a drink, though, haven't you?
Well, no, we have some friends who do our party called Bakerwood, and they said they're on a direct dial now for Bakerwood, so get ready, Langmothby, it's going to be a big party.
All right, we'll catch up later for the invites. Thanks, Paul. Cheers, well done. All right, let's get back to it.
Yeah, James Ellison, brilliant ride. You timed your recovery and you're back to pace perfectly for a good winter there.
Yeah, I know. I said before, we're really pushing for a win before the end of the season. I think that's as close as we've been all year. Sorry, he likes microphones.
It's not edible. I've tried.
Everything is to him. But no, it's been a tough year. You know what it's been like. I'm not going to bore everyone with what it's been like, but yeah, the middle of the season was tough, you know, and to come back and end the season with 2 podiums, a pole position, it's been absolutely fantastic.
I look pretty steady doing it as well.
Yeah, I was comfortable, you know. I just losing top speed. You know, we really are struggling at top speed with this bike, but I think what it is, the teams have all progressed as the season's gone on. I've missed 8 races and haven't really noticed it because I've not been running with them. Just these last couple of races, I've noticed a really big change in the bike. Well, a change in everybody else's bike, and ours just hasn't developed as much as it should have. Sorry, it's exciting.
Keen to be in TV, I think.
Quickly, I want to say a big thank you to all my family, mum, obviously, my brother, my wife Sarah, Ryder who stuck by me through all the injury, all my sponsors, SRS, Express Coffee, McCams, everybody, the whole team has just been fantastic all year, and unfortunately we didn't get to fight with the guys, but we will next year.
You weren't far off. Well done, mate.
We'll try our best. Thank you.
Wonderful scenes then at Brands Hatch as Shane Burns celebrates his crowning as the 2014 MC British Superbike champion. It's 4 times for Shaky, the all-time greatest British Superbike rider. We've got more reaction from Brands Hatch when we come back after the break. Welcome back to Shaky Burns' backyard. It very much feels like that right now, because it's the Kent boy who's done good in front of his home crowd here, and they've invaded the track to pay homage to a 4-time champion. There couldn't be a more popular person to come out onto the top step of this final podium of the season, could there, Jack?
Absolutely not. And what nicer bloke could it happen to? And also, I mean, to a kid who used to insist when he was at primary school, he used to tell his teachers that I want to be a motorbike racer. And, you know, they didn't believe him. They just told him to, you know, smarten up, son, and get yourself a proper job. But he did indeed. He actually was a part of the Sea Cadets display team. You know, those kids who jump through hoops of flame. And he did have work experience painting and decorating, but that didn't go too well. He says, I wasn't overly keen on that. It was, I didn't really want to do much work at all. So he was focused more on motorcycles. He actually rode his first bike when he was 9, or when he was on holiday in Bognor Regis on a Pooch Raider. What about this lad? The Riders' Cup champion is his teammate, the little man from Hoyk, Stuart Easton, who's ridden brilliantly. The man near us camera there, Tommy Bridewell, who gave the impression he hadn't enjoyed that race very much, but these lads have always told me that they really love it when there's a bit of cut and thrust, James.
I think he felt a little bit of pressure, did Tommy Bridewell. I think he felt he had to perform. I think all year he's felt like he's almost had underperformed slightly and needed to go out with a big result.
Well, he's certainly done that. He's pushed Josh Brooks down to 4th place. Doesn't change the fact that Josh has never been out with the top 5 in any championship he's competed in since 2008, when he was 3rd in World Super Sport. But the crowd here, the main man they're going to be cheering is inevitably 36-year-old Shaky Byrne, who came up when I was... Oh, and here we are. The lads are going to start appearing on the rostrum. Shaky there having a chat with James Ellison. The man in 3rd place then, Tommy Bridewell. The man in 2nd place in that final race, James Ellison. Paul Bird claps the shoulders of the Alpine star-clad winner of the Superbike Championship. Shaky Byrne is the MC Insurance Superbike champion of 2014. Gets congratulated by Ellison, gets congratulated by Tommy Bridewell. And Yuichi Kiyanari is preparing to come up. Kiyo just had that really not particularly hard crash yesterday morning, and it did the damage. But for Shaky Byrne, he would have liked to have fought it out to the end, but he's done all he needed to do and finished off with a double race victory. Hit double figures in his race victories again, and this time takes his 4th British Superbike Championship. He does a lot of his training on his own when he's out cycling, and he says, you know, it's you can do a lot of thinking when you're out on your own, and the big difference between worrying and thinking is that you can't do anything about stuff you worry about. Thinking clears your head. Another great remark of Shaky Byrne this afternoon was that what he does when he's out training on his bike, he's preparing to do something that he absolutely loves, and that is race motorbikes. And I think it's that pure joy he gets out of it that makes him such a success. So Shaky Byrne, who's been through every aspect of racing really on his way to a 4th British Superbike race win. Remember, started out on a CBR 600, 150 or 60 club races, went into British Super Sport on an ex-Wilco Zeelenberg Thundercat Yamaha, remember them? Had his first British Super Sport win here at Brands Hatch in 1998. And look at that, he's still winning 16 years on, saluting the crowd.
He's asking who wants the cap, that's what it is. Oh, bit of windage there, Jack.
Yes, that strong wind took over.
And a fight.
Now, come on, if you...
Oh, the marshal's kept it.
No, I thought that the marshal would be generous enough to give it to the lad.
Oh, the lad's got it. That's
Good.
It.
So what we'll get next, of course, is the, well, we're going to have, presumably, a Riders' Cup presentation to this young man. This is Stuart Easton. Rides number 5, of course, the teammate of Paul Bird Motorsport, Rapid Solicitors Kawasaki, Shane Byrne. So it's really, in the end, it's a double victory for Paul Bird's team here. What a rider this lad is. I mean, he's been rather under the radar for a lot of time, but he comes all the way from Hawick, 46 miles up across the Scottish border. And look at that. He won the Super Sport Championship, of course, last year. And they were teammates together way back in 2003 when one was racing Super Sport and one racing successfully in Superbike.
And I think he won the championship that year, Easton.
He did indeed.
Yeah. Well liked in the paddock, Easton. Popular lad.
31 years old now, the baby-faced Stuart Easton. He takes the Riders' Cup Championship for that 7th place in the kind of separate championship support series, if you like, run as an addition to the showdown once you've not made it into that top 6. Whereas Shaky can wait to go get back out and be acclaimed once again as that overall Superbike champion. And what about Yuichi Kiyadari? Well, James Whittam, Yuichi, hasn't he just proved what a joy it is to have him back on top form and loving his racing again?
I never thought we'd see that. I thought his best years were behind him. I thought his heart wasn't in it, and I thought we'd see him go back to Japan and maybe race in the East a little bit, but he's coming right back, bang back to form. 3rd in the championship. Tommy Bridewell, well deserved as well.
So Bridewell takes his leave of Milwaukee Yamaha with a 3rd place in the championship, which is it's what the lad, no less than the lad, would have expected of himself. And what a reception this fellow
Look at that. Listen at that.
King Keo, number 1, Yuichi Kiyadari, is the man who gets this kind of reception from a very, very generous British crowd. He is a 3-time champion, and he will be back in 2015, still with the build-based team, to prove once again that he can compete for the number 1 spot. Well, look at that beautiful Shoei helmet that was planted on Shaky Byrne's head during the course of his cool-down lap after race 2 of the weekend earlier this afternoon. Because the man who first came into British Superbikes in 2000 on a Harris SP1 Honda kick bike alongside Sean Emmett. And actually, damn it, broke bones in his back at Thruxton that year. He's come back for a few injuries in his time. We tend to forget that. Shaky Byrne, though, still loves it with a passion. And that's what keeps him on successfully achieving. So Shaky Byrne, then, is the 2014 champion. Shaky waits to go back out and be applauded by his audience, and he looks very cool and calm and collected about it.
Yeah, you would.
It's that time, folks.
His first British Superbike Championship, of course, was again with Paul Bird in 2003. He did the double at Brands Hatch in World Superbikes, won
British Superbike champion,
in 2003, of course, 10 years ago, he headed off into MotoGP in 2004 with Aprilia. He had his taste of world racing with Aprilia and KTM for 2 years. He had 2 years in World Superbikes later on in his career. But his heart tends to belong in British Superbikes. This is where he's enjoyed his greatest success. And of course, he is now the most successful rider in the history of British Superbike racing. And as one of his predecessors, James Whittam, you'll appreciate and admire that.
Yeah, just the length of time he's been going and his continued enthusiasm for what he does is what sets him apart for me.
And he loves absolutely every minute of it. He met his girlfriend Petra at Brno when she was a grid girl for Shinya Nakano, would you believe? The man with the eyes on his helmet. That led to romance and ultimately, of course, to getting married and having a couple of kids. They lived just down the road in Sydney, but he was actually born in London, in Lambeth. So Londoner Shane Byrne is the British Superbike champion.
Fully deserving champion, isn't he, Shaky? We're going to get a word with him when he comes back down here and reflects on what has been a remarkable season. Let's get some more reaction from down here in the paddock, though. We've got Mark Smith-Alverson with us again, team boss for the Lloyds British GB Moto team. And I think really the feeling down here, Mark, is that Shane is very much a deserving champion.
Well, I think you saw in the last race, Matt. You know, fortunately, our guy James was pushing 100% to get squeeze his first win of the year in, and just couldn't beat the guy. You know, and it wasn't letting up till the final flag, and that's the mark of a champion. And ultimately, real shame to see the championship decided with Keogh with an injury, but ultimately the champion's won through, and he's the all-time most winning rider in BSB now.
And the challenge for all you guys is to go and try and beat him next year.
Yeah, they set the benchmark, and you can see today how close we're getting to the benchmark. We've got a firm development plan for our bike and our team over the winter, and you can be damn sure that we'll be a hell of a lot closer, you know. And I watched Shake up there, and I watched Paul Bird up there today, and that gives me inspiration and motivation to try and achieve the same thing in 2015.
Absolutely, and what a great package this Kawasaki is. But of course, we've got a new R1 coming next year. We've got Honda coming back into the championship as well. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough. An upgraded BMW, like you say, Honda back, a brand new Yamaha. Nobody's sure what the potential of that is. On top of that, you know, the talk of some of the riders that are coming back to the championship and stepping up. You're in words, Laverty, Parks, Buchan. There's some exciting things going on. So this thing will be a new competition next year with new rivalries.
What can you tell us now? We tried to push you yesterday a little bit about your second rider. We know you've got James for next year, of course, as well. Any further developments on the second rider?
Well, I said no to some people this weekend, and the people I am speaking to, I believe, would give us not only one of the most competitive rider lineups there is, but quite exciting. So watch this space, but I can't confirm anything right now.
It's worth a try.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
All right, well, congratulations on a great season, Mark. Enjoy tonight.
Thanks very much. Enjoy tonight too.
Yeah, thanks, mate. OK, let's bring the two Jameses back in there. You've been trying to get under that champagne, you two lads, I think, haven't you?
Trying all day.
Fantastic scenes. And
it's like buying around for me, there.
It's as close as we're going to get, I reckon. As I said to Mark, I think the feeling down here is just what a deserving champion.
Completely. The consistency and just the way he can set a pace, not make any mistakes, and kind of wants to win still. And you know, I was just saying to Jack in there, he's been doing it so long, it'd be so easy for him to get jaded and have an injury and kind of it set him back and him not want to do it anymore, and he still does. He still loves it.
What's been the key to it for you, James?
Well, I think, you know, he works so hard on just maintaining that pace. You see him go out, he gets a really good setup, and then as James says, he doesn't, you know, he gets a great start. He normally sets himself up.
Knows what he can do.
Knows what he can do, and then he finds a rhythm. He tries to go. If that doesn't work, he pulls it back in. He goes again. He uses his head, and you know, also he has been the most consistent. Doesn't matter whether it's been wet, dry, slippy. You know, he has been out front and he's been setting the pace. And 61 BSB wins, 4 titles. The stats speak for themselves.
One thing that people don't realise, because he never says anything about it, is everybody, most riders tweeting about being down the gym, 2 hours of this, 3 hours of that on the back. He takes his fitness really seriously, but just never says anything about it.
You know what gets me about that as well? He's such a great role model, isn't he? He's a family guy. There's some young champions that we've seen crowned here this weekend, and this is the guy that they're all looking up to. This is how you conduct yourself.
It is indeed. I mean, look at that. Firstly, lovely little stoppy there, but he's such a professional. The way he speaks, you know, he really is an all-rounder. He's a top guy and a really brilliant, worthy champion.
Yeah, certainly a few riders could learn a thing or two from Shaky and everything that he does.
Yeah, I agree.
Wonderful, wonderful scenes. Of course, that was earlier on from race 2, the first race of today, when he actually won the championship. And credit to him in race 3 as well. Could have been forgiven when there was guys out there for being so hungry to win that race, the likes of James Ellison, as Mark said. He wasn't putting up with it.
That's the whole point. That's what I mean. He didn't have to go and win that. Didn't have to stick his neck up. But in actual fact, he really enjoys it, and he really enjoys racing as much as anybody. Any of them 6 guys out, mostly younger than him. So yeah, brilliant.
He was always going to win that second race. You know, it was set in the stars. You know, the pressure was off. He had the title. No one was beating him to that.
We've seen him do that before, actually.
Yeah.
This is his circuit, isn't it? This is, you know, when he wants to win around here.
He's just such a worthy, you know, the first ever 4-time champion goes out with a double win. Oh.
Yeah, perfect. All right, well, we're going to have another word with Shaky, hopefully, before we get off air. But let's talk Supersport now as well, because we have seen the crowning of another British champion today, although he is Australian, Billy McConnell. And James, I know you're great friends with Billy. You guys have worked together in the past, and I think secretly You're pretty chuffed when he crossed the line here.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously there was all 3 guys in that championship, brilliant guys, and but I was, especially happy for Billy. I've known him a long while. I helped manage him in his early part of his career, and he's a really top bloke. He puts his heart on the line. He rides it so aggressively. He digs in when he needs to dig in, and so it just looked like maybe he wasn't at times going to do it. So to come and take it, and also that championship is again so difficult, such amazing competition, and to actually win that championship in this year is an incredible.
Yeah,
achievement.
the big thing for me about Billy is he's all those things, but also he's been trying that long and been so close so many times. You just thought, is he ever going to get it? One other thing, I actually instruct on some track days with him, and he is another man who loves riding bikes. He's the one who can instruct all day to wet Mallory or wet Donington, and he's still doing the skids and the wheelies and playing about. He loves motorbikes. And that's
he's another guy that the young guys can learn from, isn't he?
Absolutely.
And we've seen some of those come to the fore in Supersport this year, particularly at the back end of the season. The likes of Luke Jones, James, and Glenn Irwin, of course, gone from strength to strength.
Yeah, they have. I mean, we've got such a depth of field there, as you say, Stableford, Jones. Irwin's really impressed me.
Yeah, me too.
I've been a big fan of his. I like the way he goes about it. I love the way he rides the bike, the control he's got.
And the wheels push it as well, to a limit.
Yeah. And obviously you've got Seeley, who year in, year out, is going to be the man who's going to be thereabouts.
He wasn't quite the man this year, Alistair Seeley, but he pushed it very, very close indeed in the final race here at Brands, and this is how it finished. He managed to push out Graham Garland for second place and the runner-up spot in the championship. There was only 4 points in it, and in fact I was told actually by Alistair's girlfriend that that's actually closer than he finished last year to winning the title. So I mean, it's incredible.
What a year. I mean, every race has been, when it's been a sprint race, it's just been knockout racing, and to win that championship, hats off to Billy, because that is incredible stuff.
Luke Mossey as well, Jake Dixon, of course, Taylor McKenzie, some really bright young talents who've showed up well this year.
Jake Dixon 8th in the championship, but that doesn't tell the story. He's been a lot more competitive than that. A lot of machine problems, little gremlins, electrics. Yeah. He's a fast lad and one for the future. As I think, Glenn Irwin is the one you've got to watch in that class.
Yeah, I think he will be, and also hope we get Vespoli back, because how much fun is he? We need him on the grid just for his pure like grid walks.
Oh, yeah, he's just good value. Yeah, super pumped.
Yeah. So it was good all round, and obviously McKenzie being out top 10 as well.
Yeah, he's a talent as well, isn't he, to look out for. And of course, we saw the Superstock 600 champion crowned here today as well. Talking about young talent, what about Kyle Ryde?
Race of the day for me, it was always going to be the top 3 in the championship, split by only 4 points. First 3 on the grid, and went at it all race, and it was just one of them simple situations where winner takes all. For me, Kyle Ryde has just done enough. He's had a little bit of bad luck, ran out of fuel at Silverstone whilst leading. That would have given him the championship, and for me, he's been the one. It's a deserved champion.
It was a fitting end to the season.
It was a fitting end, but fair play to Collier and to Andy Reid, because they give it everything there. It was a brilliant race for me.
I tell you what, it was so exciting though, because you knew whoever's going to win it was going to win the championship, which is unusual.
Even I can understand that.
Yeah. And it looked like Andy Reid made that mistake early on and dropped off and came back, and it was fascinating to watch the 3 different styles, the 3 different men. But I think all 3 of those riders are fantastic, but there's something about Kyle Ryde as well. His consistency, the way he rides it. Again, got an old head on young shoulders, and definitely 2 British championships already, and he's just turned 17. Yeah, what a bright future.
I'm seeing a potential maybe Grand Prix rider there.
Me too,
for sure.
Absolutely, yeah, me too. Why not?
Got to keep his feet on ground. He's Supersport next year, but if he can get him into Moto 2 or get him in the next stage as well, relatively quickly, because he is, he's a really good talent.
And the other lovely thing about that is all those guys went so hard at it on the track after the finish, all said that they respected each other. Andy Reid said that Ryde deserved it. Brilliant, really good to see that. It's a lot of camaraderie, even at that age when you'd think that they'd be kind of...
I mean, you can imagine Andy Reid and Collier, though. I mean, they're all great mates, but they'll be gutted because they've both ridden superbly as well, but there can only be one winner.
Yeah, great respect between all of them, and speaking of which...
Do you mind? We're working here.
And you are...
like this. we don't mind. We don't mind, Shaky. We've got a little bit of work left to do, though, before you can go and celebrate now with us, I'm afraid. But what a day for you.
Yeah, it's been absolutely phenomenal, It was exactly the day we needed. I said all along, in the circumstances that we ended up having today or this weekend, that nothing really other than a double win would have done today. And, fortunately we pulled that off. So, I've spoken to Keogh and had a bit of a chat with him, thanked him for a great season and for the, for the battles that we had, because those battles are what make you want to go racing, you know. So I've had a lot of fun with him this year.
You still enjoy this job, don't you?
Yeah, that's the trouble. I'm getting a bit old for it, really. But no, I mean, yeah, it's fantastic. You know, last year, I think Alex sort of reignited that racing fire, if you like, and the battles that I had to have with him were unbelievable. But I think that the mutual respect between Keogh and myself for each other as riders and sort of competitors is really, really strong. So that makes our battles almost even better, because Alex was so strong but so brave, but Keogh's so strong but so careful. So it's a slightly different balance. But yeah, it's been a wonderful season.
So now you've won the war for 4. What's it next year? The Drive for 5?
Strive for 5.
The Strive for 5. All right, we got it.
And then the fix for 6. I don't know. I mean, let's get this week out of the way. I intend to get a little bit tipsy in a minute. I don't tell nobody, but
that won't take long.
yeah, no, I'm going to have a good night tonight, I think, and then we'll make some decisions next week or something and go from there.
Well done.
All right, guys.
Great.
Thanks very much.
Congratulations. Yeah, what a popular champion. 4 times now, and why not? And 5, 6. I mean, you wouldn't put it past him, would you, at the moment?
Well, he's still riding so well, and he's hungry for it. You can see the desire, the want, and that's what's important.
Yeah, that is
fit.
important.
He's, at the moment, then he's going to be challenging for the championship again next year, no doubt.
With his skill, you've only got to want to do it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. What was the key point of the season for you, James? Do you think where did we start thinking now this is Shakey's championship?
I mean,
did we?
Yeah, I mean, I think because he dominated so much of the first pass, and even then, everyone was like, oh, he's not winning, whatever. He was still finishing second most weeks and doing a great job. But Keogh definitely found a bit of form and a bit of momentum towards the end.
You reckon? You spotted that, did you, James?
But no, I mean, compared to, obviously, he was awesome. So he carried sort of the second part, and then coming into here, I still think Shakey was the favourite, even without Keogh being injured. And I think it's important that we don't try and take away too much, from Shakey with Keogh's injury. But obviously it did change the whole event because he didn't have to ride in the same way. The pressure that he was riding under was completely different, and there's no two ways about it. But he was still, he was consistently fast all throughout the year, and any other system he'd have won the championship anyway. So, I think overall the right champion.
Deserve a champion, you're dead right, but 2 things. One, after Alton Park, me and you talked, and Keogh had shown some real promise there, broke down in both races, and then knock hill. Knock hill was the point you thought, oh, hang on a minute here.
Because it was that reinvention of Keogh, to find that
That's
form
made the season
again.
for me.
And I think, the pivotal thing of the season, if you to answer that question, was him breaking his collarbone yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. But he'd done so much work before that.
It's a tantalising prospect for next season, though, because of course next year Keogh he's not going to take 4 or 5 races to get up to speed at the start of the year, is he? I mean, he's going to want to hit the ground running.
No, absolutely. I mean, there's a new BMW coming out next year, which I'm going to test in the next couple of days out in Spain, which I'm looking forward to. But the point is, though, he's not having to reinvent everything because he's already done it once. He's already got same team, same bike. Yes, it's improved a little bit.
And I think it's important for him,
and that is important. But he's got that grounded thing. He loves that team. They've got the best out of him as well. There's something the Honda weren't able to do that last season with him. And so he's going to be a real good package. There's so many other guys that are threatening to come in, change your bikes, manufacturers. I mean, already it's so exciting to think about what will be and who will be on the grid next year.
It's going to be a mega championship next year. A few internationals coming back. But Keogh, new bikes, that new Yamaha out, new BMW out.
And that Keogh and Shakey, though, already, they're going to be, people will be able to keep up with them. They're going to be setting the pace, I'm sure.
How does a guy like Shakey, with his experience, James, and his success, keep motivating himself year after year now?
I actually don't know, and that's what I said. That I was trying to say, whether it came out that way or not. The impressive part for me about Shakey is he's not jaded with it. He still enjoys getting on his bike, still enjoys doing the same things. This is an hard job. It's not so easy. Every year you're bound to hurt yourself a little bit, knock yourself about. Even if it looks like you slide off and dirt yourself, you do. It's a type of job you've got to be pretty tough at. You've got to train hard to ride these things. And it's not an easy job to keep going and keep at the top, and that's the impressive thing. How he does it, I don't know.
No, well, I think he's still got such a desire and hunger to keep achieving and getting those results. In that doing this way of dominating. He's now the best British Superbike rider of all time with 4 titles, and those statistics and those things, he still enjoys it. He's hungry for it, but he's still got that hunger. And now he's about setting records and being the best. And he's done that all his life, and he's just such a credit as a champion and as a sportsman. Brilliant.
Plus the fact he probably don't want a proper job ever.
The money helps.
That's a big,
I know how he feels.
big motivator, that one.
I think we're all
exactly. We're all like that.
Yeah, I think we're all lucky in that respect, aren't we, gentlemen? Speaking of which, now the sun is finally setting on the 2014 British Superbike Championship here at Brands Hatch. But if you did miss anything from the final round showdown today, we've got highlights tonight here on British Eurosport 2 HD from 7:30. We also have action from the other support races that we've had here this weekend in our British Superbikes Extra Show. That's on Thursday night with James Hayden at 9:30 on British Eurosport HD. It's the best show of the week. And we've got a full season review show as well to look forward to. That's next Sunday evening at 5 p.m. on British Eurosport HD. Don't forget the final round of World Superbikes 2 in 2 weeks' time. But from the whole BSB team here, from James Hayden, from James Whittam, from Jack Bernicle, from Barry Nutley, Neil Mackenzie in the commentary box, and from the whole team behind the scenes here, thank you so much for joining us throughout a memorable season. It really has been fantastic. To all the fans as well, of course, how we can forget you guys. A season that has seen new records, new champions, new friends, new rivalries, and of course, let's not forget about the heroes that we've lost as well. Until next year, we'll see you soon.
Are we on telly? Hello?
There's a definite trip hazard at some point here. So what's the main cable doing there? Try and keep up. I'll pull you back in. I've got an leash now, and a Dazzler. Let's have a look. Yeah, just watch me bum back there.
Go straight past me, didn't you?
I know. Yeah, I'm going to miss you. Right, we can hand back to Matt and James now, because I'm getting tired.
You're doing a great job holding the brolly for me, Tommy, so you're welcome to stay here as long as you like.
Just not wearing a skirt, Matt.
What was the difference in race 2 for you?
Race 1 was second, race 2 was fast.
Such a daft question, that, Matt. Some of your experience.
Give it to us, Norma. Look at that.
Oh, good to see you, Andy. You're the sport.
What's the weather going to do? No idea.
It stopped.
All right, Dazzler, we still see all right.
How many jackets have you got on, by the way?
Loads.
This is Michael Fish at the weather forecasting department.
Apparently he's got a pink fairing on as a bet.
Ooh,
presumably.
is that like your jumper?
This time he just grabbed the advantage on the way into the chicane. Shakey's done it. He's cooked it to perfection. Here comes Kianari. Oh, what a move. Side by side down the Wellington Straight. Shaky Byrne trying to take that inside line. He has grabbed the advantage back. Shaky Byrne, is he going to take the race win? He does take his third ever race win at Silverstone. Kianari versus Shaky Byrne. Oh, Kianari wins.
First possible start for Build-Based BMW here with an injury this morning to Ryuichi Kianari.
Like all racing, you're either up or you're down.
Oh, Shaky Byrne's crashed. Keo, you've got to try and get yourself on track tomorrow.
I'm so sorry to everybody.
It's going to be the war for 4 complete. Shaky Byrne, he won his first British Superbike Championship in 2003. He wins his 4th in 2014. Would suit, but there's nothing left. As we go under the bridge then and round into the Clark curve, Josh Brooks once again looking for a slightly different line to get the gas on early on the Milwaukee Yamaha.
Yeah, and I think he has to do. It does lack a little bit of straight line speed compared to the Kawasaki. That cross-plane crank Yamaha runs a balancer shaft. It has to do because the engine isn't dynamically balanced with the firing order, and that at maximum RPM takes about 6 or 7 brake horsepower, so it is slightly slower.
Fastest man on that lap was a 1:26.681 from James Ellison, just by a whisker from Stuart Easton, who's right behind him. So the front five breaking away a bit from Howie Mainwaring Smart and Dan Linfoot. The climax to the 2014 MCA British Insurance Championship on the 4th lap of 20 here in perfect weather at Brands Hatch. And it's the new champion, Shaky Byrne, 4 times a champion on bike number 67, ahead of the red and black Milwaukee monster-backed Yamahas. James Ellison's in there in 4th place, Stuart Easton in 5th. And that quintet have broken away, really, from the Quattro Kawasaki's of Dan Linfoot and Howie Mainwaring Smart.
Why we're looking at Marshalls. Oh, and that is Josh Brooks' perfect move into Sterling's pass. He's been setting that up, you know, mid-corner speed, especially around the back end of the circuit. It's been good, but straight back comes Shane Byrne.
And you know that at the moment there's kind of a... Wow, these two are going to run one another close, and that meant Brooks had to back off. That's cost him 2nd place, in fact 3rd place as well as Ellison goes through.
Yeah, there's only room for one bike going through that line. You've got to clip the inside there to get the speed and get the line. Oh, that's Bridewell nearly in the back.
Clips the back end of Byrne. He goes straight on, and that pushes him back to 4th place in turn.
This is close stuff, you know, and Shane Byrne looked round. He felt that, and he looked round to see what it was, and that was almost a kind of calm down lads kind of look from Shane Byrne to me. That he knows things are going on behind him. He's felt 2 people clobber the back of him in 2 corners. Yeah, this is up into Druids, and look,
taking the inside line into Paddock Hill. And this is the battle between Chris Walker and Peter Hickman. They're wrestling with 10th place, and Hickman goes through. So the tall Derbyshireman on the RAF Reserves Honda gets the better of the GB Motors Kawasaki. Meanwhile, at the bottom of the hill, in the other direction, Shaky still fending off all comers in celebration of his title.
Speaking of RAF Reserves, you know, I'm not sure I should volunteer for that. I think I'd make a go. I'm a pilot. I don't know if you've got to bring your own plane or not.
Well, we're suggested to it, James. Have you got roundels on it?
Yeah, I can do that. I've got some paint.
All right, we're on the 7th lap of 20 then. Shaky still has the advantage over Ellison, and Bridewell still has that crucial advantage over Josh Brooks. And right behind them, hovering behind them, is Stuart Easton. And fastest lap of his particular personal race for Howie Mainwaring Smart, 1:26.81.
He's got Mainwaring Smart, you know, has definitely got the pace to go with these boys if he can bridge the gap. He's definitely doing exactly the same pace. What a good weekend Mainwaring Smart's having. Unreal.
James Ellison, I wonder if he just had a bit of a moment then, because he certainly got gapped by Shaky Byrne at that point. He had an unsteady moment as he came out of clearways.
He said after race 2 of the weekend, earlier this afternoon, he had a monster slide off camera, right at the point, Dingle Dell, where he had the monster crash and broke his leg. He said it all came flooding back. He didn't really enjoy that. He wouldn't.
A superb queue of motorcycles thrumming round on the overrun onto Druids, and then diving down the hill, swinging left at Graham Hill Bend, and once again you'll see number 77, Ellison, almost trying to egg Shaky Byrne into a mistake, getting up the inside of it. Oh, and Shaky has a huge moment coming out of Surtees. That really shakes the head and the rear end of that Kawasaki and allows Ellison through.
Yeah, meanwhile, you know, man 5th there in the back of the shot, Mainwaring Smart. Old Howie's chipping away. He was the fastest lap. He had the not the fast lap of the race, but definitely faster than him
in 3rd place. Remember, a reminder, at the moment, Brooks 2 points ahead of Bridewell, who in turn is 4 points ahead of Dan Linfoot in the 3-way battle for bronze.
Yeah, Josh Brooks wearing that eyeball helmet. He says it's because he's got a lot of Japanese rider friends, and the eyeball thing comes. We used to see it on Nakano's helmet. That's how it became famous years ago. But actually, a lot of Japanese riders that came through a specific rider school and racing school in their early years, they won the right to wear the eyeballs on the helmet. That's where it all comes from.
Dropping down almost out of our sight there, that steep drop through Dingle Dell, and it is a steep one. It's up to 140 miles an hour in fourth gear, and then the surge through to Stirling, just below 70, second gear swoop, and then it's blistering pace here as they go under the bridge, 150 miles an hour in fourth gear. That's Jenny Tinmouth, who's had such a good weekend. Went through to qualifying 2, finished inside the top 20 in the earlier race today.
Yeah, because she's run off track and not crashed, she's still got the bike upright. She is allowed to continue. If you actually slide off your bike goes on its side, you can't.
Bridewell, fastest lap on that lap, 126.56. He's running third ahead of Ellison, Easton, Linfoot, Maywearing, Smart, Kirkham, Hopkins 9th, Walker 10th. Dropping down the hill. This is what they used to call Bottom Bend, with every good reason, but it's now Graham Hill Bend after the fabled 1962 World F1 champion.
In fact, it always was Graham Hill Bend in my time, but we always called it Bottom Bend, always. Just like we didn't say Clark Curve, we always called that last corner, wherever you were in that corner, that was always Clearways.
Yeah, I think they kind of adjusted things a little bit to take it, because they've fitted as many famous names as they can in around this track, haven't they? Even where we are now is the Minter Straight, after the very many times king of brands in the 1960s, Derek Minter.
Well, they are now actively looking for one they can call the Bernicle Corner.
No, they're not. No, I would think that Wacky Whittam would be somewhere ahead on those stakes.
The Bernicle Kink, that'd work. I'll stop.
Yes, I'd quite appreciate it, actually. Yeah, Bernicle.
Mistake from Bridewell, really. That was, yeah, and did lucky to sort of avoid the back of Byrne.
James, I'm just entertaining you, thinking you're about a dozen years older than Shaky Byrne, and you remind me that he was a properly wild lad when he first burst onto the scene.
Yeah, absolutely was. Yeah, he was known for it, actually. Did a lot of riding for a magazine that at the time specialised in really daft stuff and silly pictures and big wheelies and stoppers and crashes and all that kind of thing. And he was the man for the job, I'll tell you.
So right now we're on the 5th lap of 20, and Shaky, the more settled, mature Shaky Byrne, leads the way from Ellison and the Yamahas. As they drop into, they've completed 1/4 race distance as they drop down Paddock Hill in front of a rapt audience. Shaky Byrne leads the way. There are the championship positions right now, with Bridewell a point ahead of Brooks, who in turn is 9 points ahead of Linfoot. Linfoot is looking possibly out of this. It's between the two teammates. Well, they're not going to be teammates next year. One of them wants to finish with the bronze medal in 2014.
I don't think at this point they're bothered about being mates next year, or even tonight at this point.
It's looking that way, isn't it? So really, James, it's all down to who finishes in front of who. Yeah. Brooks has to finish in front of number 46, Bridewell, if he wants that third place.
He does.
And hovering behind them, of course, finding his mojo again, is little Stuart Easton. We've hardly talked about the lad from Hoyk, but he's right in there, and you know, running an equally smooth pace with the leaders. Howie Mainwaring Smart's back in front of his teammate Dan Linfoot in 6th. He's, you know, looking to complete a spectacularly successful weekend.
Yeah, it's Mainwaring Smart that's actually pulled away from Dan Linfoot now, and he looks like he's. I don't think that Howie Mainwaring Smart, good weekend though he's had, has got the pace to go with these leading 5.
And Linfoot's got Kirkham and Hopkins for company, so Hopkins having a livelier ride. He's running in 9th place, but at least putting a respectable show on now, the Californian. As we look at the leaders, and Ellison once again close. Josh Brooks almost at an angle of 45 degrees.
Yeah. And that's a lot steeper downhill than you think from up there, you know. That is a real advantage if you can point it down. It just upsets everybody else in the front row, that's all.
And the people he's trying to upset are his teammate, number 46, Tommy Bridewell, and the newly crowned champion, Shaky Byrne. Here we go then. 20 laps to go to top off the 2014 season. And Grand start by Josh Brooks. He just burns his way off the line, but Shaky Byrne does the same on the Kawasaki and managed to dip underneath the Australian and grab the early advantage as they go up the hill towards Druids.
Brilliant start from Shane Byrne there.
Wow, he produced a flyer, so Shaky Byrne from third place on the grid. As James Ellison is quick to cut his way through to fourth place. But it's the two Milwaukee Yamahas lying behind the Rapid Solicitors Kawasaki as we go along the bottom straight. Stuart Easton fifth. Linfoot has made a blinding start to grab sixth, ahead of Hopkins, Kirkham and Mainwaring Smart, who are all ahead of him on the grid. Hickman, Wilson, Walker's also made the classic Stalker start to catapult himself through from row 6. And there's 29 riders on the grid then, and of them leading the way is Shaky Byrne, just from the Milwaukee Yamahas.
Yeah, just remember how quick Brooks was in the last race, the second race of the weekend. The first race this afternoon, he was on pole for good reason. He came through, it didn't make a bad start. It just took a long time to get going. If he could just get into his stride early, I think he's the man who could go with Shane Byrne. Still damp under the trees. Look, I know it's offline, but I cannot believe how long it's taken to dry around here. Unreal.
And of course, I presume that was part of the reason that Josh actually found it quite difficult to get through the pack in that first race.
Yeah, because it was a lot narrower, the racing line then. You know, the actual dry piece of tarmac, and to pass people, you've obviously got to go offline, and that means going onto the damp parts.
So Shaky Byrne just has the edge by half a bike length over Josh Brooks as they keel their way around Druids Bend. Tommy Bridewell sat right in behind.